All right, welcome to another edition of the Big Blue Report featuring that guy, two-time Super Bowl champion, former defensive captain, the barking dog in the background. He is the man, Jonathan Casillas. Ryan Darlington, the professor, joining us. I'm Randy Zellea from backsportspage.com. And guys, the big news hit, and it hit us like the wildfires of the mountains out here in New Jersey. And it was inevitable. It was meant to happen. Sterling Shepard is coming back to play the Giants this week.
Coming back. He's coming back, baby.
Sterling Shepard is returning to the Meadowlands and has dominated the news all week this week.
It's the story everybody's talking about, for sure.
I can't wait to see Sterling. It's going to be amazing. JC.
You sure there's no other news going on right now?
I saw it. Did I miss something?
Drew Lock?
Yeah, Drew Lock. Let's see how long
but no, let's talk about that though.
I thought the Giants cut him after training camp.
Because we all know what's going on, right? The biggest thing in the NFL, the biggest news really in the NFL right now is Daniel Jones getting benched for Tommy DeVito, which is, I think we all kind of knew it was going to happen, even though I thought that it had to be a transition from Daniel to Drew Lock and then Tommy, because they brought him in to do that, as in Drew Lock, they paid him to be the backup, and then they just skip over him. And that blows my mind because it's like, I just don't understand it. I just don't get it. I get the move, but like, why sign Drew Lock in the beginning?
Yeah, can I just have
Go ahead. Yeah, this is the discussion I wanted to have, though. It's like,
before we discuss this, I just want to let you know, if you want to get your discounted Daniel Jones bobbleheads, you can go to foco.com right now.
They're going to be super valuable.
Support the show, support the Giants, Big Blue Report, and the Giants, of course, by going to foco.com right now. And the link is in the description below. You can get all your discounted Daniel Jones products and your New York Giants products now at foco.com. Thank you for supporting the show. Look, I'll be I'm having some fun with this, but at the end of the day, guys, we were all shocked that Drew Lock got passed over. But it sort of goes back to Ryan, and I was talking with JC, I was talking to Ryan about this earlier, that this wasn't much of a surprise for me just because Drew Lock hasn't looked good. Every time I've seen him, whether it was at practice or, again, you can't judge preseason, but Tommy clearly outplayed him in the preseason too. Drew hasn't looked good. He just hasn't. And like Dable said before, Tommy gave a spark last year. And, don't think that Mara's not sticking his head in there, sitting there saying, I still need to have people in the stands this weekend, so we're going to put Tommy DeVito out there.
So the more I think about this, right, and I've been thinking about this for the last, however many days, and trust me, that's incredible that I've been able to keep one particular strain of thought in my head for the last couple of days. But the idea is that Tommy's the fan favorite. Tommy's the one that people want to see. So if you don't bring in a Drew Lock at the beginning of the season, the minute Daniel starts making a mistake or two, everybody's going to be calling for his benching and pull up the fan favorite, Tommy DeVito. So Drew Lock gets brought in as a very expensive buffer, ensuring that there's no quarterback competition at the beginning of the season, solidifying him as your starting quarterback, and keeping all of the chatter about how Tommy needs to be the one to be starting in Daniel's place because Daniel sucks and he can't get the job done and so on and so forth. Now that Daniel's out, you no longer need the buffer. So at this point, you take the fan favorite, the one that everybody wanted to see anyway, and you put him in the game.
And
look, I'm excited. Jersey
I am
boy.
Too.
I think a lot of the Giants faithful, they're fans of Tommy. Especially the Jersey, like Italians in the area, like you can't, like, it's one of your own. You know what I mean? And for me, I always embrace my Jersey guys as one of my own. The only one I can remember that wasn't a part of like my guys as Jersey guys is Eli Apple, and we know how I feel about him. I mean, I'm sure he's matured now, but like back when he was a rookie, he was a young dummy. Oh man, I couldn't stand the kid. But this kid, Tom, he plays an exciting brand of football, which the Giants haven't had on offense, and we've seen spurts of it. Look, our receiver, it has been upgraded. The Giants have found a stud in Malik Neighbors coming out of LSU. A lot of those LSU receivers has been good early in their careers, but his consistency hasn't been there. And I'm not going to say it's all on him, but a lot of like the way the offense flows, a lot of the way of the team flows is the performance of the quarterback. Mm-hmm. And Daniel Jones just hasn't been consistent, not just this year, last year, the year before. Even when the Giants they've had a good year in 2022, Daniel only threw 15 touchdown passes.
Right.
Like his numbers never really was jumping off the page. I remember his first start against Tampa 6 years ago, whenever that was, he lit it up. I think he had like 200 yards passing, 100-something yards rushing, 4 touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken. But we've never seen that again from Daniel Jones. We've never seen that rookie year performance. And I don't know if that's the reason why he was around for so long, but I don't think in the NFL nowadays, guys, we're ever going to see somebody play that long at mediocrity as we've seen Daniel Jones.
Look at his record over the last 2 seasons. He's 3-13. 3-13 over the last 2 seasons. Overall,
how does anyone keep their job with that?
His overall record is 24-44-1. I mean, it's not even close.
See, 3-13 is not a huge surprise for a quarterback, but it's a huge surprise for a quarterback in his 6th year.
Yeah, right.
Because usually if they don't feel confident in that quarterback at 5th, 6th, 7th year, he's a veteran. They'll just move him. They'll do something with him. But the Giants just been hanging on for, I think, a year, at least a year too long. How about this? A few games too long. Because last year was a tough year for everybody on offense. 3 quarterbacks played. Daniel Jones got hurt twice. You know what I mean? So it's like 4 quarterbacks got knocked out. Tommy even got knocked out. No, seriously. Think about it, right? Because Daniel Jones started. He hurt his neck. And then Tyrod came in. He gets hurt. Tommy comes. No, excuse me.
What was Glennon,
Daniel
right?
comes. No. It was only Tommy and Tyrod last year. You're thinking about the year prior.
I'm thinking the year before.
4 years ago, right?
I'm scarred by that year anyway.
Daniel Jones gets hurt twice. Tyrod gets hurt. And then the one, I think the Saints game, Tommy DeVito knocked himself out, or he got knocked out, but I don't think he missed the play. But it wasn't all on the quarterback, but I mean, Tommy played 8 games, I believe, and got sacked 37 times. Mm-hmm. So it's like, we could wash last year away. So let's call it this year, right? The Vikings game, let's call that what it is. First game back, Vikings was a superior, and they were ready for the Giants, and they caught the Giants off guard. The team didn't really look ready, not just the quarterback. And then as the season progressed along, you've seen some flashes. But then I think as you start getting into the Washington Commander games, you start getting into the Dallas game, then I think you really started seeing like who Daniel Jones is. He was healthy. I think the getting over the injury was past him, and there was really no excuses that nobody can make. You got your number 1 receiver. You got a pretty good running back. Your offensive line is definitely improved. Your defensive line is leading the league in sacks. So a lot of things was working for the Giants, but the quarterback position just wasn't getting it done.
Yep. And it's something that I said too in the beginning of the year to you guys, that Daniel needed to keep his job. He needed to play at a level with the guys around him that I don't think that it was going to be able to be sustained at any point. And look, and something that you said too, he was successful. And I was yelling at Ryan earlier today, but in the car about this, like I literally was going crazy. I'm like, in 2022, they handcuffed him. And he was very limited on what he was allowed to do. And it worked, and it was successful, and they found a way to win. And throwing the ball was not one of his better things to do in 2022. So what do you do in 2023? You go out to get more weapons for him to throw the ball to when he wasn't throwing the ball well in 2022. What world does that make sense in? Explain that to me, somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there have been a number of kind of head scratcher decisions, right? And some of it, I feel like Daboll's overly stubborn in a lot of situations. It takes him too long to make decisions. It takes him too long to make changes. Sometimes I scratch my head at the changes that he makes, trying to fit a round peg into a square hole. If you had a formula that worked for Daniel and that worked for the team in 2022, why would you change it for 2023? Trying to make Daniel Jones Josh Allen, and it's just not going to happen. And he's not had success over the last couple of years when that's been what's been going on, right? You're trying to make him more of a passer than he is, and that's not his game. And so I'm thoroughly convinced that he is going to land somewhere else next year, maybe with the Raiders, maybe with the Saints. Who knows? There are a number.
He's not going to be starting though.
No, but he might be gone this year.
I mean,
he might be
Raiders need a starter.
He might be landing somebody this year.
I don't think there's a team in the league that's going to bring him in to be the starter. I think Daniel Jones would be a great locker room guy and a great backup because he does possess the tools to be a quarterback in the NFL and run an offense. But from what I've seen from him, I would not make that move, But look, I think. I tip my hat to him because first off, it's really hard to play in New York. I know that firsthand, and the way he struggled and the amount of criticism he received, it's been fair. I think it's been fair, the criticism that he received, but it's been a lot. It's been a lot. And ever since they drafted him number 6 overall, a lot of the Giants faithful, like it was kind of split. It was like guys that just had hope and wanted to believe in him, and then the other guys never really embraced Daniel Jones.
Right.
And then after that 2022 season, that's where you really seen the guys kind of divide. After they went to the playoffs and they decided to sign Daniel Jones and franchise Saquon, and then they got rid of Saquon. And then it's like, all right, what are we doing here? And I think we all on the same page that was the right move at the time.
Yep.
And I think we talked about this before.
Randy's not. He's
when you make a decision, right? You have to do it for the now, thinking about the future, right?
Sure.
And I think that's what the Giants did. Daniel Jones, he won a playoff game. The Giants haven't won a playoff game before 2022 in 10 years, guys, since they won the Super Bowl. And it was all about timing when you're up for a contract, and it was the right time for Daniel Jones. He forced their hand, and they had to make a choice, right? And at the time, it's like, I understand Saquon's been hurt the last few years. Daniel Jones is, he shows that he can win games in the playoffs because he played very well in the playoffs, right? So they had to make a decision, and according to the market, running back market was trending down. But this is where I think they made a mistake, and we could call it Joe Shane, right? He considered Saquon a running back, and you can't do that with him. That's like calling Christian McCaffrey a running back. They're just so much more than that. They're not running backs. Like you have one great running back in the league right now, that's Derrick Henry. And Saquon, CMC, Alvin Kamara, all of those running backs that I'm talking about that play running back, they're more than that. They're elite in the passing game. They're matchup nightmares. Those are weapons. And when you have a weapon that's possibly one of the best players in the NFL, and Saquon Barkley, I feel like you have to figure out a way to hold on to him because you can't go off of what you're seeing from around the league. And I think that's the mistake that we've been seeing with the Giants, is that they're trying to do analytics and do certain things according to the rest of the league. With look at what you have. Saquon was not only a great football player, but he was a great leader in the locker room. And if you look at offensively for the last few years, where they've been struggling at is leadership offensively. Who's yelling at the guys? Who's the guys that's bringing the guys together? People talk smack about those little sideline meetings, but those meetings, they happen, especially when you're struggling. Somebody has to corral the guys together and slap some guys around and say, hey, let's get the job done. I haven't seen that at all from the offense. I've seen it from the defense sparingly. The leaders. Burns came in and was a leader right away. The leaders on defense, but offensively, who were the leaders? Who were the guys that got the guys going? It wasn't Daniel Jones. He led by actions. He was a captain. He was a quarterback. but he wasn't the vocal leader. He didn't perform. Like, you know how they say, oh, they lead by actions. He didn't do that because you have to play well to do that.
Yeah,
you have to play well to do that.
But was Eli one of the guys who spoke up all the time? Because I'm just telling you from this perspective, I didn't see that from Eli. Eli never came across to me as the guy who's sitting there trying to rally the troop, because Eli always came off as cool man Luke. You know what I mean?
You're right about that. He was cool man Luke. But the thing is, though, by the time I got there, he done so much in the NFL. Whenever he spoke, everybody shut up. Coaches, staff, your kids, like whoever's around. When Eli spoke, you shut up. And he didn't speak a lot. Like, he wasn't as vocal. Like, I was a lot more vocal than he was, but that's my character. I don't think that is in Eli's character, but his body of work, his play, and I mean, he's a Manning, that's before he even proved, right? Before he even proved that he's a guy, he's the guy. He's a Manning coming into the league. Number 1 pick overall, said, I'm not going to go here. I'm going to go here. Like, 2 people only did that in the history of the NFL. Yeah. So it's like he already had that clout with him. By the time I got there, he was a 2-time Super Bowl champion, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. Like, I knew about his mystic. I done played against him plenty of times. He had the body of work where he didn't have to be a vocal leader majority of the time. He led by actions. And then every now and again, when he did speak, it was exponentially greater than anything that I've ever said, probably, because it's Eli Manning, and when you have a guy like that at that position, it makes a lot of things a lot easier, and I started talking to Schmelk weeks ago, one of the games where I don't know what game was it Dallas, where I think Wandale dropped the 3rd down pass and the crowd was pretty like out of it for like majority of the game. Yeah. And I was talking to him about how the crowd noise affects your play. And he's like, oh, yeah, you're going to tell me that if the crowd was loud or the crowd was into it, that Wandale would have caught that 3rd down pass? I said, probably. Yeah. It has a lot to do. Like, what is home field advantage? Right. And what is home field advantage in October, where the weather's not a factor yet, right? It's cooler down in Miami, so that's not a factor anymore, right? Why is home field advantage a thing? Because of the crowd.
You mean why is it supposed to be a thing?
Right. But the point I'm trying to make, guys, is that the Giants haven't had that advantage at all. Yeah. No. And each game started off with the crowd being maybe not at 100%, but let's call it 90, 95, where they're like excited, they're ready to go. Within 20 real minutes, not 20 game time minutes, 20 real minutes, halfway through the first quarter, crowd is quiet. And they're just they're waiting for something to happen, and nothing happens. No touchdowns in the first half until last week or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, whenever that was.
Every team in the league wants to have a fan base like Seattle. Every team in the league wants to have a fan base like Seattle. And the simple fact of the matter is, look, I throw this out there about Daniel. I watched the press conference today. I listened to what Tommy said yesterday. I listened to what Drew Lock said yesterday. So this is to summarize what I took away from everything. Drew Lock is being a professional, but he was visibly upset. Tommy's excited for the opportunity, and Daniel Jones was treated like the high maintenance girlfriend, and the Giants broke up with him, and now hanging out with the girl next door. Blocked him. Yeah. Took him off unfollowed him on all the social media apps. They broke up with him and they demanded their goddamn lava lamp back. That's pretty much what it was. Oh my gosh. That's right. Yeah, but like not only that, but you bring in another quarterback, demote Daniel to the 4th quarterback, and you say, please stay on the sidelines and just have a catch with Wandale. Please do that.
Or act as the safety. Yeah. In practice.
Yeah. I look.
I mean, are they doing that? Are they putting him on scout team?
Yeah, they put him on scout team. Yeah. So I mean, that's the part of it that kind of, it doesn't borderline on disrespect. That's the part that feels bad. That's, you know what, if you're done, if you're gonna break up after 6 years, you both need a little bit of space, right?
And I think I really do think I really do think after reading his press conference and listening to him talk, I really, really do think, they're saying if someone asked him if he was going to ask to be released from his contract. I'd be honest with you. I think the best thing for everybody, so this does not become a distraction the rest of the way, he needs to be away from the team.
Yeah.
Right. What's the deal if they do cut him? Well, they can't. You know why? Because I heard that if they do cut him to like avoid whatever, for the injury stipulation that they have in his contract, that the NFLPA will have a grievance against the team. So I heard something like that, which makes sense because it's like they would just all contracts would be situated like that.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right. But he would. I mean, if he's on the roster at the beginning of the league year, he gets the roster bonus, right? And that's another $12 million or something like that. So they would have to cut him on the last day of the league year.
Right. I think from what I understand,
March.
Unless if they just came out and flat out cut him, then that's where our grievance would be. But if it's a mutual thing, like that might be another story. Again, that's stuff I'll have to look up and really.
Well, I mean, that's probably why they got him so low on the depth chart, because they don't want him to take any reps. They don't want him to be the emergency quarterback or the second emergency quarterback.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But send him home. He can still be under contract. He can still be, on the roster. But just like Tommy DeVito, he was the third quarterback, was on the active roster, but he didn't dress.
But he's not even a third quarterback anymore.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, he's the fourth quarterback. He's the fourth quarterback on the depth. He's the fourth quarterback on the chart.
Yeah, I don't even know. But that has to be the reason why, is what I'm saying, is because your third quarterback is your second emergency quarterback, right? Yes. The backup is the emergency quarterback, right?
Right.
Backups usually don't play. Last year you had a lot of quarterbacks going down, a lot of backups played. That was an anomaly of a year. That doesn't really happen. That third quarterback never plays, besides the last year with the Giants, right? But since they have that history, they're like, okay, we're going to guarantee that Daniel Jones doesn't play. Because if the first string quarterback goes down, if the second string quarterback goes down, now it's a third. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Now it's a third. I don't know who's been through three quarterbacks in a season, but
so he's on the active roster, right? I mean, he's got a roster spot. He's a part of the 53, but he doesn't have to be at the stadium, and he doesn't have to be in the building, right? And when he is, all it does is it kind of opens up all those old wounds and keeps it around, right? You need a little bit of space. You need a little bit of time. And Randy, you're right. It's going to continue to be a distraction that polarizes the team. The more he's there,
I don't think so.
You don't think?
I don't think so. No. Especially when they start winning. Like if the Giants win this weekend, Daniel Jones is in his history. That's it. Old news. Right. If Tommy DeVito struggles and throws 3 interceptions, now it's a deal. But if Tommy DeVito plays well, Daniel Jones is done. He's done. He's history. Nobody's going to care about what's going on. I'm telling you, that's what happens. People forget things when wins happen. And then when you lose, like the Giants have been doing, there's a lot of questions being asked. And the Giants continuously losing, the questions keep compiling. As soon as you win, you answer questions. You start answering the questions that everybody has. And the question of Daniel Jones, was it a right move to make? That's the question that they're asking this weekend. If Tommy DeVito goes out and balls and they win the game at home, which they haven't done yet, I'm telling you right now, Daniel Jones is forgotten.
Even if we lose in bad shape, even if Tommy goes out there and lays an egg, right? Daniel Jones is not seeing another snap as the quarterback of the New York Football Giants. So I mean, even if we lose and there is a quarterback controversy, which I don't think there would be, right? Because we're moving forward with what we've got. It would be. The only way it would be if Tommy DeVito struggles, because you still have Drew Lock. Yeah, right.
It's not Daniel Jones' conversation is over, but the thing I was saying earlier just now was, if Tommy DeVito struggles, right?
Yeah.
Then it's like, is that the right decision to go to Tommy? Right. And that's the whole question.
Daniel Jones, blah, blah, blah.
Right. But the Daniel Jones is still like relevant in the conversation because Tommy didn't play well. But he's not going to get the nod, of course, because he's fourth on the depth chart. But if Tommy doesn't play well for 2 games, there will be quarterback controversy because you have a backup quarterback who was paid to be the backup, who is now second string still after somebody got jumped over him. So it will be a quarterback controversy if Tommy doesn't play well.
Right, but not between Daniel and anybody else, right? It's between So why have him around, right? Why keep him around? What's the point of that?
Well, not only that too, I have to point this out. During Daniel's rookie year with Eli, when they benched Eli, you said not being a distraction, but because of the way the team played and because Daniel was still taking his bumps out there, Eli being right there over his shoulder, it still brought up questions every single week. I remember being there. I remember sitting there every single week. They kept on asking Shermer, are you going to go with Daniel? You're going to go with Eli. And Daniel kept, I have the transcripts of Shermer sitting there saying, Daniel Jones is our starting quarterback. Unless something happens to him, Eli Manning is the backup quarterback. And Eli played 2 more games at the rest of that season. He played against Philadelphia on the road, and then he started against Miami at home. And that was the end of the Eli Manning era. But every single week, it was still a question. So to say it wouldn't be a distraction, it's not saying it. You can't say it won't be a distraction because look, at the end of the day, if this is the same guy again, he was. Man, I'm going to get beat up for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I don't care. He was the golden boy. He was the one. Daniel Jones is the one who was supposed to be the heir apparent to replace Eli Manning. He was the one when Joe Shane and Brian Dable got hired for this position where Mara kept on coming out saying, Daniel is our guy. We've given him every excuse to fail between coaches and offensive coordinators and offensive line and this and that and this and that. And when Brian Dable got a hold of him, maybe he saw something that we all didn't see, and he took him and put him under control and said, you're going to run. You're not going to be throwing a lot. And this is how it's going to get. You're going to give it to Barkley. We're going to work off of that. And we saw what happened in 2022. And then like we were just saying before, they tried to expand his role last year, got hurt, understand, came back this year, fixed the line, no Saquon, still have a strong running game with Tracy and Singletary, and it's not working. But my thing is this, guys, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. And I was sat there in that press room the day Daniel Jones was drafted. And Ryan, I remember saying this to you when he was drafted. I did not like the pick. I didn't like it. I didn't buy it. Anytime you tell me someone from New York is drafting someone from Duke at number 6, I usually think it's the Knicks. Okay? And it's not the Giants. So with that being said, this was not the right pick. I've never been on this Daniel Jones bandwagon. So for me, and you guys we can go back to past shows of me sitting there saying before the season started, I don't know where these wins are coming from, and I don't believe in Daniel Jones. And I don't want to come out here and say I told you so, because in a weird way we all predicted it. But now that it's actually happening, it still feels like it's a shock to the system for some. But now you can't keep going back. Now you have to look forward.
It's been a career mired by potential unrealized.
This is Dave Brown all over again. You're never going to replace the great guy with the next guy. It's always going to be someone after that.
Yeah, so rare to get a Steve Young after a Joe
or Aaron Rodgers.
Or Aaron Rodgers
Jordan
after
Love.
Brett Favre, or even Jordan Love after Aaron Rodgers. They've managed to string together a couple of them, but that is exceedingly rare.
But what have they done? They've gone.
They let a quarterback. They draft a quarterback early in the first round, and they let him sit for at least 2 years.
Yeah, they have to go back to doing that because you know what? You get these guys going out there and they get so messed up. It takes a couple guys a couple years in the league to really get comfortable. Look at Sam Darnold this year. Look at Baker Mayfield playing well in Tampa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? This is almost like my NBA thing where I keep on yelling the high school kids shouldn't be coming in because they don't really start getting it. It doesn't start making sense to them until they're 22, 23 years old anyway.
Yeah, no, that's true indeed. But as we've seen Daniel Jones play the last 3 years, that was him. He wasn't going to be no more than that, than what we've seen in 2022. That was his best season, and he wasn't even statistically great. He was statistically efficient, which wins games in the NFL. It really does. Oh, it does. But he didn't hold up to that either. Mm-hmm. So I don't think it's going to be as much a distraction as you, Randy, because like I said, I was in the locker room, and this locker room, of course, is different. These players are different, but I've been in different controversies and quarterback situations, stuff like that. If you're winning games, none of that stuff matters, guys.
Yeah.
You know, and the media are going to have questions. We're going to have questions, but the players, like, I think you heard the best response from Dexter. He's feeling it for him because he feels like that's his brother. You know, I don't think he feels like he was, benching him was not right. I think that maybe how they treated with the going to the fourth string, I think that's probably the problem that Dex has. But if Dex is sit here going to say that you want to still have that guy play quarterback for you, then Dex is not as smart as I think he is, because it's clear and obvious. You talk about
look at the body
distractions. You talk about distractions. What was more of a distraction for the New York Giants than Daniel Jones playing quarterback?
Yeah.
Right.
What's it going to be? Which one are we going to get today? Yeah.
You know, that's literally every single week we talk about the play of Daniel Jones, and most of the time it wasn't good. Twice he's played good this year. Let's call it 3 times he's played good this year. Dallas, I think, or one of those games where he played well and the Giants still lost. But like, bro, that's
the Washington game. Yeah.
Washington.
That's 3 in the last 2 years, because none of the games he played last year was good at all.
Right.
No, and then this year he had 2 or 3 games where he played pretty well, but only twice was well enough to win, right? That body of work, and then the up and down roller coaster for the first 4 years of his career, and then, you know, the icing on the cake was losing to one of the worst teams in the NFL in Germany. And I think we all kind of knew it was going to happen. I hated it that it happened, but when you have, and I'm going to use that word again, a distraction at quarterback, and I say that because he couldn't play the position how he's supposed to for the Giants to win games. Second to last in scoring, last in the red zone and points for points. They missed a lot of field goals, and the complimentary football didn't exist because of that. And when I played with Eli in 2015, when Eli was a turnover machine, like, I felt like every time he would go out there, he was either throwing a pick or he was getting sack fumbled. Like, he could not hold on to the ball. But we still had the utmost belief in him and confidence. Yeah. How many guys can say that right now on the Giants about Daniel Jones?
Can't, because he doesn't have the bottle of work. He doesn't. Yeah, I want a bottle. He doesn't have the body of work. You know what I mean? He just doesn't have the body of work. Eli got himself some credibility by winning a Super Bowl MVP twice over, right? And Daniel won 1 playoff game. So
and
in 6 years.
I have to ask this question again, JC, and I'm sure I've asked it before. But what, besides the initial reaction of when it happened, but when Eli got benched in 2017 for that one game where Geno Smith was the best option to win that football game, what was the reaction of the players? I know there was you told us the famous story about you and Calvin.
Shep talking.
Yeah.
Oh, you talking about me and Gettleman? You talking about, or you talking about me and Shep?
No. I know the famous story about you and Shep when McAdoo announced it to the team. But what was the general reaction of the guys? Because there was one report, not a report, but there was one commentary. I think it was Art Stapleton. I'm going to give Art the credit for it. That a lot of the guys who were in the locker room at that time with Eli weren't the guys who went to war with him in those Super Bowls. So there wasn't that emotional attachment with Eli as much. It was more of just the football decision, and they went with it. But what was more of the reaction of the guys when Eli, this guy, two-time Super Bowl champion, this Giants legend, was being sort of, I don't want to say pushed aside, but being told, you're going to sit because we want to see what we have in Geno Smith gives us the best chance to win the game, and we also want to see what Davis Webb has.
Yeah, I don't think we believe that. You know, if that was actually said by McAdoo or whoever it was that, made the statement, I think it was McAdoo. I don't think we believe that, and I questioned the move as soon as he announced it to us. I'm like, why would he do that? And Geno wasn't the Geno that we've known for the last 2 years. Right. Geno was, at that point, he was a bust. At that point, Geno Smith was a bust, and he didn't play good up until that point. And he was playing scout team. He takes some reps here and there. I didn't see it, and it's hard to, like, unless you're doing like stuff on scout team where you're just scrambling and throwing the ball on first string defense and just doing incredible things, you can't, like Drew Lock, you can't show much at practice. Like there's like you can do stuff in preseason and even in training camp when you're going ones-on-ones and you're going hard. Like there's a lot of things, but when you're a backup quarterback, everything is off of a script, and even when you're taking reps with I don't even think they take reps with the first team. I don't think that happens at all. I think maybe he get 1 or 2 plays with like the offensive guys that are active per week, possibly. But like you can't, like you're not winning a job at practice during the season. It's not happening. It is not happening. You can lose your job for sure, which Daniel Jones did, but you can't win a job at practice. It's not happening. Somebody can lose it though. Like if somebody's not playing well and the other guy has been consistently playing well whenever he was in and has been communicating well and shows that he has a good understanding of the offense or defense, they're going to give him a shot because this guy's not performing like we think he could. And that's what's happening here, and look, I don't want to keep bashing Daniel because I do think that he took a lot in New York and he did do some great things in New York. He did have some great plays in New York. And for me, he's one of the toughest guys that I've seen play football.
Yes.
Like he didn't protect himself, but damn, that dude was tough.
Yeah.
He was tough. He was
physically
tough.
His heart.
I think he was mentally tough. I just think that he just wasn't a big time performer. I think he wasn't consistent. I think he didn't know how to play at that high level of efficiency, that high level of productivity, that high level of playmaking ability that's needed from the quarterback position. Now, Tommy DeVito, he doesn't have that consistency, but he at least has the balls to throw the ball downfield.
Right.
And that is what I think every single Giants fan is hoping and waiting for Sunday. The first deep pass is probably going to come in the first drive of the game.
Yeah,
Watch fans get excited even if it's an incomplete pass. I promise you. I promise you.
And, it's interesting. One of the reasons, just coming from a fan's perspective, right? Yes, it's something different. Yes, there was this energy. There was this spark. There was this fire when he came in last year. I don't know that we can expect that same thing, but we may actually get something that's better than that in a sense.
He might be better this year, Ryan.
Because he's got another year under his belt. We're talking about young guys holding the clipboard. That's what he's been doing. So at the end of the day, if he sounds more like, if you read what he's talking about in his statement that he gave, it sounds like he's ready to play some ball, right? And he was having fun when he went out there last time. I hope he does retain some of that because, joy for the game really does elevate somebody's play. Look at Brett Favre, right? He's just a kid out there having fun all the time, throwing the ball any which way he wants. So, I mean, if he can retain a little bit of that, but he's a more mature player now. He's got a better mastery of the playbook. He understands the system, and I think he's got a little bit of built-in cred with the rest of the team. So I think they want to perform for him. He wants to perform for them. He's more mature. He has more experience with the playbook. I'm curious to see what he's going to bring, and it's not just him putting his hands up as in a couple. You know what I mean?
I hope that they don't handcuff him. If I'm not mistaken, last year the first game he played was
he wouldn't let him throw. We lost the game.
They did not let him throw the football.
I remember that.
Is it the Bears? I remember.
That was the Jet game. That was the Jet game.
It was the Jet game, right?
Yeah. Look. The other part of this too, guys. The one thing we all sort of seem to forget about as well. We sat there. We watched Tommy DeVito last year, and it was like the closest thing I can remember, JC. I mean, you'll remember this too. It was almost like Linsanity.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So like you felt that excitement. You didn't want to miss it, even if Daniel struggled. You watched him against the Cowboys like last year. It was just you just wanted to be part of it. And right now, the feeling I got from talking with the Giant fans, one is there's relief that Daniel's gone. And again, like you just said, you don't want to keep pouring it on him because there's still a man who still loves the game of football. Yeah, he's still a human being, loves the game of football. And my interactions with Daniel have always been positive. But like the one thing that I'm and I mentioned this to Ryan earlier, JC, you know what it is like in that locker room on game days with the media. We're not allowed in that locker room until 10 minutes after, there's a 10-minute cool down period and everything else like that. And if you're inactive, you walk through that, you walk right past the media as you get, while guys are showering, you didn't play, you can free to go. Do you know how awkward that is now going to be with him there? Walking right by us.
But like, you see what I'm saying? You talking about that, but like, no player care about that. You know what I mean?
The players don't care
because you're media, right? But like, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
It's like manufactured story. It's drama.
This is the NFL, man. It's called Not for Long, and Daniel Jones hung around pretty long.
Pretty damn long.
Look, I should tell people this. People should be like, what's it like playing the NFL? I said, well, it's very stressful, and I'm anxious. Sometimes, being undrafted and being third on the depth chart at times. This is my job security. I used to always say this to people. Peyton Manning, and I say, you know who Peyton Manning is? Oh yeah, of course I know who Peyton Manning is. Yeah, Peyton Manning was cut.
Mm-hmm.
He was cut.
Yeah.
He got cut from the Colts, and I can list a whole bunch of other quarterbacks that got cut. Best players possibly in the league got cut. That's my job security. That is the NFL. You can be the best player on the team. You can be one of the best players in the league, and you can get cut, or you cannot get re-signed. We've seen it happen. That's part of the business side of it. Now, the extra level with Daniel is the whole injury deal. That's the extra level that we're seeing. Yeah. I think different things than we would normally see. I think him playing as long as he did this year, I think that had something to do with it. And then also him moving the fourth string has something to do with that. So what you're talking about, I get it. That's awkward for Daniel Jones, but I'm telling you right now, even Daniel, he's going to be a little bit happier when the Giants start winning games, even if he's not playing. It'll be a little bittersweet for him, but it's all been negative for him.
Yeah,
it's all been negative.
It's for years
since they beat Seattle. No. Because look, Seattle, we were all happy when they beat Seattle.
Yep.
He was happy. Everybody was happy. He played well. They scored 29 points, the most points they scored all year. He looked like a pretty good quarterback. Defense played well. They made the big special teams play at the end. Like everybody was happy. Giants Nation was happy. Yeah. But since then, they dropped six straight games since then. It's been miserable for him because he's been the center of attention. He's been the center of focus. Oh. So now that pressure is kind of off of him. And like I said, when the Giants win, his name will kind of get pushed to the side a little bit, and it'll focus to be more on Tommy. And I think that's a little bit of relief for Daniel Jones.
Sure.
So let me ask a fair question. You think if that injury clause was not in that contract, he'd still be playing right now in this situation?
No, I hope not.
No? Wow. Okay.
Yeah, look, JC, you, Patty, and Ed sat there at the last home game, and four of us were sitting there talking before the game, and you flat out said if we lost to Carolina overseas, heads were going to roll.
Yep,
heads were going to roll. I've listened now again. I try not to get too involved with what I hear on sports talk radio because again, that's just people's opinions, and they just get paid to be on the radio. It's what it is. They're all sitting there saying, like, the whole thing is a disaster, and how do Dable and Joe Shane keep their jobs? If you let go of Dable, okay, I'm 50-50 on Dable. But if you go and let go of Joe Shane, and you go through your third general manager since 2017, what kind of stability are you showing players around the league that you're trying to attract here? That you keep switching around the main general manager, that position keeps rotating in and out every couple of years. It doesn't show stability.
There is no stability though. Like they can't show anything. Like the Giants haven't won. That's the only way you show stability is when you win, right? Look at the teams around the league that have been traditionally good, right? In the last, like, let's call it 10 years, right? You got the Steelers, right? There's no question with what's going on over there, right? Yep. They didn't even have a quarterback for the last few years. Now they have a pretty decent quarterback. I mean, they're losing right now to the Browns, but which is crazy. 8-2 versus 2-8. That's wild. But I promise you, they'll figure out a way to win this game because that's what good teams do, right? And I'm saying that because of what they've done. That's stability when you win. The Chiefs, they have stability. You can even call the Eagles what they've been doing, since they had their Super Bowl run.
The Lions,
they've been stable. They've been good. The Lions, the last 2 years, they've been good. Baltimore and what they've been doing. Even Cincinnati. Like, Cincinnati is not the old Cincinnati. You know why? They still suck. Like, their team sucks. They don't win games. But they have a guy that plays quarterback that's actually playing very well this year. Their defense is trash. They give up a lot of points, but he scores 30 points a game on offense. So when you have a quarterback, when you have winning that's associated with your quarterback, when you have winning as associated with your franchise, that's the only stability that exists in the NFL. Because if you consistently lose, like, no job is safe when you're winning.
Yeah.
But when no job is safe when you're winning, like, it's a miracle that Chris Jones stayed up in Kansas City for as long as he has. Like, he's a great player, but he's older. Sometimes they get rid of players like that. But when you're winning games, you could afford to sacrifice some dollars here. You could afford to not sign a guy because you have an old veteran that you don't really want to replace because he means so much in the locker room. That's stability. But when you're losing games, you have to figure out a way to move things around to make yourself a better team. And the Giants, they started out hot in 2022, 6-1, if I'm not mistaken, to start the season.
Yeah.
And then since then, the Giants haven't been good.
No.
They haven't been good. So they're trying to figure it out. And I think they made the move at quarterback is the right move to make. Maybe a little late, but hey, the move to make. And I think they picked the right player because we're all excited about him. There's not a person that I've heard talk besides Dexter Lawrence that's not excited about Tommy DeVito playing.
Just to see what he can do. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Hey guys, I have a quote here from Daniel from his media session earlier. They asked him if he was going to stick around the team.
Rough.
And his comment, he's like I said, it's something I'm processing right now. My focus is how I can help all these guys, help Tommy, help all these guys prepare for this week. The simple fact that the common thing is, I'm processing it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just looking at the quotes right now. Okay, this is the quote that I think you guys should take a look at. Sorry, it's taking me a second to put it in here.
Hey, the Giants still owe him money regardless if they get rid of him or not, right? They still got to pay him some money for next year.
It's a $22 million cap hit, but they've already paid him that money. So it counts against the cap, but they've already paid him.
It counts against the cap, but it's not against him.
So Daniel Jones already got his $80 million.
Yeah.
So
at 24,
nobody out there better feel bad for him. Nobody.
No.
Yeah.
Not one person.
They asked him, what did they tell you the reason why they decided to make this decision?
Mm-hmm.
And this was the answer that they gave him. Well, I think it's obviously that we're 2-8, and that's not where we want to be. They're looking to change things up, and that's what was communicated. That was the nicest way of sitting there saying, you are sucking right now, and we do not want you on the field.
Can't get it done. I don't know why anybody, players, front office, fans, why anybody would be surprised. Right?
Do y'all see what's going on in this game real quick? I'm sorry, Brian. I mean,
no, I can't.
It's profusively snowing. Like, it's snowing so hard. Yeah, it's snowing so hard.
I love it.
This is
good. Go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry, I cut you off.
That's all right. I was going to say, if I had a TV in here, I'd be fired by now because I would get literally nothing done. But no, I mean, I don't know why anybody would be shocked. I don't know why this wouldn't be the natural conclusion that a team would come to, given the situation that we're in. Of course he got benched. Of course he's going to get cut at the end of the year. Of course there's so many reasons to not have him, not have him be your quarterback anymore. And 2-8 is one of them. The contract is another one, right? There are a number of folks that he, that support him and that, think he's awesome. I will never take anything from him in terms of his heart, in terms of his work ethic.
Yeah,
I think he is a great person. I think he's He's smart. Sometimes he can't throw the ball all that well. Sometimes he can't make the right read. Sometimes he, gets happy feet, and he's late on the And so these are the things that you need. These are the qualities that you need to be a solid starting professional quarterback. And if he doesn't have them, he doesn't have them. And so the fact that he has had 6 years to prove that he is this guy means that, yes, we have done a lot of things to kind of hinder his growth as an individual, including all of the regime changes and so on and so forth. But this past season, we kind of set him up. We kind of set him up to say, we're giving you everything that you need. You've got a solid number one. You got an improved offensive line. This was kind of the shit or get off the pot kind of year. And he's getting off the pot, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. And not only that too, but just going up and down the answers to the questions. Someone asked him if he would consider waiving his injury clause in his contract. JC's reaction. Yeah. Would you give up $25 million in case they broke your leg and you never step back on the field? Oh no, they can keep the 25.
That's cool.
Play. Yeah, we're fine.
Bro, listen. Let me tell you something. I was with Saquon Barkley's business partner last night. His guy, that handles a lot of stuff for him. And this was the thing he was telling me about, right? So he was talking about how Daniel Jones took the deal, and him and Saquon and Daniel had an agreement that they wouldn't take that deal before the franchise tag, and they were going to force the Giants' hand. And then he was like, "Yeah, man, Daniel took the deal. He didn't side with Saquon." I'm like, "Bro, what?
Yeah,
$80 million guaranteed. I don't care how cool we are, bro.
I love you, brother. Yeah,
what are you talking about? Let's be real about this. It's all about timing, man, when you get paid. That's why Dak is the highest paid quarterback in the league. I don't know if he still is, but when he got signed, because every week is whoever gets signed, if you're playing well at the time and it's your time to make some money, you will make a lot of money in the NFL.
When the iron's hot.
That's just how it works. Or they're going to franchise tag you, and you're still going to make a pretty good amount that year.
So there was a situation, and I know this might go over both of your heads because you guys don't follow wrestling, but back in the day, back in 1996, there was 2 wrestlers by the name of Scott Hall and Kevin Nash, the Outsiders. They're in the NWO, and they signed a deal with WCW, and they had a clause in their contract. They had a clause in their contract called the favored nations. So if WCW signed anybody who was making more money than they automatically got a pay bump. So
that's a good contract right there.
So they were making about $1.5 million each, and Bret Hart got paid $2.7 million when he came in. So those guys bumped all the way up to $2.7.
I didn't know that.
Yep, and then when Hulk Hogan re-signed, Hulk Hogan was the only guy that wasn't part of that contract. So Hulk Hogan re-signed, and he got $5 million. That didn't change, but Randy Savage re-signed, and he got $5 million. Kevin Nash and Scott Hall jumped up to $5 million.
Jeez.
So
I didn't know WCW was making bank like that.
And when you have Ted Turner's money at that time, you could do whatever you want.
Did you see the McMahon documentary?
Yep.
Oh, it was so good, wasn't it? And I didn't realize, because I grew up a WWF fan, which is WWE. I grew up a WWF fan. I barely watched WCW, but there was a couple times when Scott Hall and Steve Nash, Kevin Nash and Scott Hall, when they went over to WCW, I watched it, but I was a legit fan WWF. I remember power bombing multiple kids in the gymnasium, tombstoning my brother and almost breaking his neck in my living room. You know what I mean? I was an avid fan. I didn't know WCW was killing it like that, though. That's insane.
So the craziness of how much they were going at each other as far as ratings. I know we're totally going off topic here, but one time, JC, I don't know if you ever saw it, but I think you remember, if you were a fan at that point, when DX ended up invading their show.
D-Generation X?
DX showed up to Nitro.
I've seen that one. Can y'all see this?
What's that?
Oh, boy.
Can you see it? It's all white, but that's the
all
game.
White out. It's a white.
Yeah, it's all whited out.
God, look at that.
Yeah, it's like I mean, I'd never played in a game like that. Man, I would have loved to play in. Like I played in light snow several times, but not that. I always wanted to do that.
We were watching your alma mater the other day. We were watching the Wisconsin game it was on. We decided to watch it the other night.
Yeah, they win?
We didn't watch the whole thing.
I didn't watch that part.
Randy watched. All right, Ryan, I think it's trivia time, my friend.
Hey, all right. So am I doing NFL or did we do FOCO?
I already did FOCO.
You already did FOCO. So this week's trivia, as per usual, brought to you by NFLShop.com, powered by Fanatics. If you got the cojones to do so, show your love for the Giants and to support us by clicking on the link in the show description, placing your orders today. There is an energy, right? There is a little bit of juice in
here. Get your
Tommy
DeVito jerseys, number 15, baby.
Jerseys right here, right now. Get you some cutlets. It'll be good. So, but get all of that gear. You can rep Big Blue all year round like we do. NFLShop.com has you covered. So head to the description, check the link, get all your Giants gear now.
All right, here is this week's trivia question on the screen now.
Played the Bucs during the 2008 playoff run. The Bucs quarterback in 2008.
I'll give you some choices.
Okay. Yeah, you give me choice, I'll get it.
Is A, Mike Lennon? B, Jeff Garcia? C, Jameis Winston? Or D, I'm scared to give you this one.
It's not D.
Or D, Dave Brown, because Dave Brown did have a little stint there.
B, Jeff Garcia.
That was going to be my guess as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Winner.
Hey!
Those are bad choices, bro. Jameis Winston, he wasn't drafted until 2012 or
later.
14.
Later.
And then Mike Glennon, he was a rookie my first year with Tampa. I don't even know who that last dude was that you said.
I was like, I found a good question. I'm like, I don't have any other choices for the answer. You better just think off your cuff of your head there. But hey,
I was actually going to say Jeff Garcia. There was somebody else too that I was thinking of, but it was either Jeff Garcia and it was somebody else that I was thinking of that was Tampa, not Grammatica. Somebody else. Go ahead though. I'm sorry.
Guys, we seem to be, obviously Daniel and Tommy dominated the conversation tonight, but obviously we also have a game this upcoming Sunday against Tampa. Sterling Shepard does return to East Rutherford. Mike Evans returns to the field. Tampa's competing for a playoff spot right now, and we're trying to get that division. I think they're still over 500. I know they struggled without Mike Evans a little bit, but guys, let's do a prediction on this one. I think there's going to be juice in the building. I'm obviously hoping for a close game. I'm going to go on a limb and actually pick the Giants. Maybe make like a little bit of an upset here. Go 20-17 New York. I just feel that sometimes maybe this is the wake up call. Maybe this is the buzz that Dable was talking about. So I'll go 20-17 New York.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go, I think, this is the first time back in the spotlight. There's going to be some rust. There's going to be some nerves, right? There's going to be a little, got to get used to game speed again, right? I think it'll probably be 24-17 Bucs.
Listen, bro, I'm all about Tommy DeVito and these chicken cutlets, baby.
Do it.
Listen, I think the Giants, they have potential, right? They've had potential the entire year. You have a beast that's sleeping over there, Malik Neighbors, right? I felt like the way he was acting the last few months was because he didn't believe in 8. I think that was the reason why we seen the things that he was saying about I was open and all of that. And now Tommy will throw him the ball. And if you just throw the ball up to this guy,
he'll go get
it. He's going to force a PI or not. He's going to come down with that ball.
Yep.
Like that's the type of guy he is. I think the Giants are going to put up points, but I do think Tampa's going to put up points too. So give me the Giants. Get their first win at home, 27-24.
Wow. Ballsy prediction. I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I think it's going to be interesting. Just to put a bow on the Daniel stuff. Look, again, it's always tough to choose to follow when you're replacing a great for that organization. And I really do wish him the best. I think, honestly, do think the best thing for him is not to be around. I know he's processing everything right now, but maybe it might be better for him just to sort of step away and just let the Giants focus on their thing. It's not that the guys in the locker room don't want him there, any of that sorts, but I just think it might be just for the best for him just to sort of like do what Derek Carr did, do what Russell Wilson did, just stay away at this point.
Thanks for your service. We wish you well.
Is this the last time we're going to speak about Daniel Jones?
Oh, please, God.
I hope so.
Please, God. Please, God. Let it be the case. Please, God.
Listen, JC, you're in that press room. You're in that press room with us, and you see when you get up there, besides the breakfast in the morning, and they put out those sandwiches on the side, they've had chicken cutlet sandwiches. The workers at the stadium know. They know what sells. And they
knew
know
it was coming.
Guys,
knew it was coming.
I'm excited to watch a game for the first time in I don't know how many weeks.
Yeah.
I don't have that sinking feeling in the pit of my stomach. Like, how bad is it going to be this week? What are we going to fuck up this time? You know what I mean? I don't have that this time. I'm excited to watch the game on Sunday for the first time in a long time.
There was a great scene in Family Guy when they're like, we're going to Mets opening day, and all of a sudden, like, and here's the first pitch, and the season's over. So, that's how you sort of felt with the Giants over the last few years. It's like, welcome to opening day, and here's your first interception, and we'll see you next year.
Game is over.
That's what happened last year, bro. We got punched in the mouth by Dallas at home, and that was it.
It was done. So, all right, guys, thank you very much. This was a lot of fun. I think we needed, we went an hour. I think we needed the hour tonight because there was so many different, and there's so many different angles from the Daniel thing we probably didn't even really touch. I appreciate you guys doing this tonight. We're gonna do this again next week. Or maybe might be reacting from a win.
Hey, let's hope.
Let's react.
God's ears.
Yeah, let's react to a win here. Giants play the Bucks 1:00 this Sunday, probably on Fox. Listen, you know what? Watch it on the TV, but pregame and postgame, you should go to WFAN. There's a guy over there, and whom we may or may not, know.
Hopefully, I'll still have a job by Sunday.
You didn't talk too much shit tonight. That's good. You're good.
I'm a 99.9% sure you'll have a job. For Ryan Darlington, Jonathan Casillas, I'm Randy Zellea. We will see you next week here on the Big Blue Report, where we will talk Turkey and Dallas. Some little prep on, little tease, as they say in the business. All right, we'll talk to you guys next week. Big Blue Report. We'll see you guys.